broke up with my boyfriend of 2 years after signs of incompatibility and unsustainability. As we were breaking up, he tried clarifying to me that he was the one breaking up with me, and not me breaking up with him. Previously, he had stated how he was the one who ended things first in his past relationships, so for him to say that again while we were breaking up was a bit off-putting. We are now in no contact.
Hi, Reddit. I hope I can get some advice on how to proceed. Thank you for reading. My 25 female, boyfriend, 26 male, and I have been dating for roughly 2 years. Last year, we took a 3-month break because of a discussion we had about the relationship and how I was unhappy with how he was treating me, whether it was his emotional unavailability or lack of intimacy. By the time he came back, he had insisted that he had changed. Because he was my first relationship and love, I took him back, believing in him. Throughout our relationship, I felt as though he was never satisfied with who I was, and I spent so much time trying to match whatever ideal he had created for me. In doing so, I've carried an immense pressure to change myself. Even if it was well-intentioned, such as working on my inability to communicate well, his words or actions would always feel like pressure rather than support or encouragement. Furthermore, our arguments or discussions around issues I would bring up would usually conclude in him being frustrated that I was unhappy when he was happy, or not being able to understand my perspective, or things going back to how they were before our break, which inevitably led me to give up on bringing up the same issue over and over again. A couple of months in, he began to comment heavily on everything I would do, whether it was my makeup, outfits, or the way I acted around people. He would tell me that I didn't look good in specific clothing or my attire was weird, culminating in me breaking down when he insisted my party attire would bring embarrassment to him. Even after I confronted him and he apologized, I still struggle with body image and insecurity in my identity. Adding on top of his comments, the way he acted during intimacy has severely impacted the way I view his love. He does not kiss me or look at me, and as a result, I've never felt such personal shame in my appearance. I've gone to great lengths to communicate my issues. While he apologized, things didn't really change and began to look like it used to before our break. Furthermore, there were things in the relationship that I could not look past. Ditching me last minute on a planned hangout to go somewhere with his friends, not putting as much effort into dates, and saying that I was insecure when I would bring up issues that bothered me. I began to feel emotionally disconnected in the relationship after his 26th birthday, when he blamed me for being stressed when I was just happy to see him. That day, he cried and apologized, but I just kept questioning why I was the one comforting him when he had hurt me. As the months progressed, I continued to feel neglected, but wanted to fix the relationship as I was still happy around him, or there were happy moments between the two of us. However, I continued to feel overwhelmed. I began to not take care of myself, not being able to eat as often or sleep well. During this time, I would insist I was okay, but I believe he grew anxious and wary of my insecurities, watching my every move so as not to upset me. He would often make assumptions about my mood in the past, and I asked that he trust me prior. However, his actions led me to believe that he was only growing more distrustful of me. Yesterday, we had what I believe was our biggest fight yet. He told me that he had been unhappy with the relationship for months, and that I had been acting in a way that he was always stepping on eggshells. He said I was the most insecure person he had ever met, and that I was just like his ex, who he described as being a manipulative and toxic cheater, and one of the worst people he had ever met. He also said that he was dissatisfied with my career progression, even though I had previously expressed my insecurity about it to him, and he had assured me that I was perfect the way I was. He also expressed that he felt as though he didn't know me at all, which I found extremely painful considering how I felt as though I shared so much about myself. When I began to break down and ask him what he expected of me, he said that was something I had to figure out myself. Out of frustration over not knowing what he wanted from me, I suggested we break up, considering how many hurtful things he had said and how he told me that I was hurting him. He then proceeded to say that although this relationship is the only aspect of his life that makes him unhappy, us breaking up would make his life worse. After our fight ended, I couldn't stop crying for hours. I feel as though this relationship has brought me so much joy, but also such sadness and doubt that I don't think I can handle any longer. I have always been a bit of an insecure and socially anxious person, but this relationship has turned me into someone that I cannot recognize. I also realize that in my growing anxiety, I have hurt my boyfriend in irreparable ways and feel great shame about it. However, I do not know how to fix our relationship as I cannot even say who I am anymore. TLDR. While my boyfriend of 2 years and I have shared wonderful experiences, he has acted in ways that have caused me great anxiety, insecurity, and doubt in myself. In trying to change for him, I've grown exhausted and have become a harmful person. In our most recent fight, he said that I was the most insecure person he had ever met and that I was acting just like his toxic, manipulative, and cheating ex, who he described as being one of the worst people he had ever met. When I asked him to break up, he said he wanted to fix things, but also that he was the unhappiest he had been in a long time. Update. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for their insight and support. It saddens me to know that there are others who have gone through such a similar experience, but I am grateful to know that we are not alone. After posting my initial post, I ended up asking my boyfriend to meet so we could break up. At the time, I was insistent on leaving, but was still open to hearing his side. When we met up, he immediately started crying and apologizing. Wanting to keep things short and concise, I expressed that this relationship was not healthy for either of us, and that we were incompatible in ways that were unsustainable for the long term. He was initially in denial, saying that everything is fixable, but soon after he agreed that we should end things. As we were thanking each other for the good memories, he suddenly said that he was the one breaking up with me, not that I was breaking up with him. In the past, he had expressed how he was never the one who was dumped in his other relationships, and that he always ended things first. Hearing him try to clarify that he was breaking up with me was a bit confusing, considering that I was the one who brought it up, and that I thought it was mutually agreed upon. In all honesty, it only clarified to me that the relationship ending was for the better if he focused so much on the logistics of being the one to end things. We have been in no contact since, and I'm working towards healing from what I have experienced throughout our 2 years together. While I have found myself missing the relationship, as the breakup is still new, I've felt a sense of relief and happiness towards working on myself and no longer having to cry because of him.